firmly on the accelerator. Unfortunately, only 29% battery, but what can you do? Oh, jeez. Christ, that was fast. Whew. Bloody hell. 0 to 100 in seconds. Whoa, and that was actually a slight uphill. No filthy pollution for you if you're a Q6 e-tron owner, except it doesn't have lane centering. God damn it, Audi. G'day guys, how's it going? Today we're here with the all new Audi Q6 e-tron. In fact, I've got it in the top spec, the SQ6, guys. And today we're gonna be looking at this all new electric vehicle from Audi. It is based on a brand new platform, their PPE platform, which is shared by other electric vehicles, such as the Porsche Macan Electric, which by the way, we've got a review coming soon, so make sure you subscribe down below. So what we're gonna be doing today is taking a full exterior tour of this car. Of course, I'm gonna be showing you all of the new features on the interior. I'm also gonna be taking it for a drive around the streets of Hobart, which, by the way, Hobart has some incredible roads, if you didn't know. And of course, I'm gonna be launching it from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, testing out that 4.3 second claimed time. And then of course, I'll end on my final thoughts. Should you buy an Audi Q6 e-tron, or should you go for the Porsche Macan Electric, or even potentially one of its competitors like a BMW iX3? Let's get into this. All right, so let's talk pricing now for the Audi Q6 e-tron range. So it does start at $115,500 for the performance spec, which is just a single electric motor rear wheel drive spec. Then you take a step up to the Quattro, which is a dual motor, and it is all wheel drive, of course, and that's for $122,500. Then you take another massive step and you go up to this, the SQ6, which is $151,400. So a really big step up to this SQ6, but you get some really cool tech, especially on the taillights, but we'll get into that in a second. Then of course, in true Audi fashion, there are plenty of option packs, and in fact, there's too much to get into in this video. So if you want to go down the rabbit hole of all of the money that you can spend on your Audi Q6 e-tron, make sure you read our written review. It is up live now on CarSauce.com. But just to give you an idea, there is a premium pack for about $9,000, which includes things like the acoustic glazed sunroof. There's also a Tech Pro pack, which comes with adaptive air suspension, but there is a long list of options that you can get on this car, so make sure you check out that written review. But let's get into the way this thing looks. All right, let's check out how this thing looks, because it's a really good story. So first of all, this thing has a really cool party trick where, as you can see, there are all these individual LED components on the daytime running lights, and you can actually adjust the daytime running light signature from the infotainment screen on the inside. So I believe there's 8 different signatures to choose from. You can fully customize the way this thing looks with its daytime running lights. So that's a really cool feature. I haven't seen that before on any other car. You do get matrix LED lights as standard across the range. So that's awesome to see there. With auto dimming high beams, which to be honest should be a new standard safety feature in Australia, but that's just my opinion. As you can see, we get the iconic single frame grille. It does have these body colored inserts here, which look really cool. You do get your Audi rings there with black on the outside with anthracite on the inside, and you get a fully blacked out mask as well, which looks quite aggressive. And of course, you get your radar for your adaptive cruise control down the bottom. You do get a camera array up the top as well. This thing does have over 30 ADAS systems, and it works really well, except it doesn't have lane centering. God damn it, Audi, but we'll get back to that when we talk about the driving section. For now, let's check out the side. Alrighty guys, so let's talk about the side of the Audi Q6 e-tron. As you can see, we do have it in this SUV body shape here at the launch of the car in Australia. Now, it will be coming as well with a sportback body style, but that will only come later this year. I believe Q3, they're saying at the moment. So let's check out the side of this SUV. So first of all, on this top spec SQ6, you do get 21-inch wheels with this cool 5-spoke design, very EV look, very aerodynamical. These are wearing Pirelli P0 tires, pretty decent rubber, and I actually had a decent experience driving this thing around, as you'll see soon. Moving on to the rest of the side, you get these blacked out mirror caps, as well as your 360 camera down there. You also get your e-tron blade that runs all the way along the side. Just in terms of sizing, this thing is 4.77 meters long, which does place it kind of halfway between the Q4 e-tron and the Q8 e-tron, which are both based on the previous MEB platform. Like I said, this is on a new PPE platform. And I love the new design Q Audi are using to show the model name on this pillar here. You do get keyless entry and go as standard across the range. And of course, you do get these roof rails here because it wouldn't be an SUV without that. Of course, really tinted privacy glass at the rear. That is an optional extra on some of the lower models. And because this is the SQ6, you get charge ports on both sides. So let's talk a little bit about the battery specs of this car. This car does get a 100 kilowatt gross capacity lithium ion battery. It does have 94.9 kilowatt hours net, which is the exact same as what you'll get in a Porsche Macan Electric. And as you can see, this side has AC charging only. On the other side, you do get DC charging, which is capable of up to 270 kilowatts fast charging at max capacity. And Audi, of course, were sure to show us that charging graph to show just how long it's able to maintain that max charging capacity at higher temperatures as well. So that's really impressive there, and it should allow the Q6 e-tron to get from 10% to 80% state of charge in around about 21 minutes. So that's pretty quick there. Let's check out the rear. Okay, let's get to the star of the show, the ass of the Audi Q6 e-tron. And let me say, this is a bedazzling derriere because it looks incredible. First of all, you get this incredible LED light bar that runs across the entire rear of the vehicle, and it is very reminiscent of the Audi RS e-tron GT, if you remember that review we did ages ago. And of course, you do get sequential indicators at the rear as well as the front. And of course, the star of the show, you get these OLED panels underneath, as you can see there on their shimmer effect at the moment. And of course, these are also used as status indicators. So for example, if you're like me and you drive on the M1 a lot, you get a lot of Ford Rangers up your arse. So this will actually tell people to back off. It'll actually put little warning triangles on the rear tail lights and warn people they're a little bit too close to you. So that's a really cool feature. I want to see that on more cars, Audi. So let's talk about the rest of the rear. Of course, you do get your new Audi rings with anthracite on the middle. Of course, you have your SQ6 badging there with blacked out lettering. You do get a blacked out bumper down the bottom. Of course, no exhaust to be seen. No filthy pollution for you if you're a Q6 e-tron owner. And you do get a subtle little spoiler up the top there. But now let's talk about what it can fit inside of itself. Alrighty guys, so let's talk about what you can fit in the boot now. And as you can see, you do get a powered tailgate, which does open with quite some haste, and you do get some cargo nets down the bottom. As you can see, it is quite a large space, 526 liters to be precise. And of course, you do also get a false floor, which does come with quite a decent amount of space underneath because of the new PPE platform and where the battery is placed. So that's a really good story. You do get some more storage on the sides with some nets, and you do get some controls here on the side to raise and lower your air suspension to make it easier to load and unload the boot. So that's also really cool. Of course, you can also drop the rear seats. They do fold down in a 40-20-40 configuration. And then of course that expands the cargo space to an enormous level. I haven't gotten the official quoted literage yet from Audi, but I'll make sure to put that on the screen if I get it. You also get a frunk which has 64 liters of capacity, enough to store all your charging cables. So yeah, the Audi Q6 e-tron is a very practical space, but let's check out the interior.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have some merch, very limited edition, very limited edition. This is our Clickbait T-shirt. It says RIP insert car here because we know you love to click on this, and also a little CarSauce logo on the back. Very tasteful, very demure. These things are AS color. They feel oh so fantastic. And I'll be totally honest with you, we have spent quite literally thousands of dollars getting this right. For a very limited time, head to CarSauce store, put in your order. Once everyone has put in their order, we will finalize that and ship it to you. But yeah, this is pretty exciting. You're gonna be seeing a few more pieces of this, but who knows how long.
Honestly, we might never do this again, so just get it now.
And help support CarSauce so we can try and move away from OEM advertising. That'd be nice. Okay, bye.
Bye. Alrighty guys, let's, oh, that was a thonk. Talk about the interior now of the Audi Q6 e-tron. And yeah, this is where you can really see that it's an all new car. So you get this absolutely massive 14.5-inch infotainment display. It's really incredibly clear, super responsive. It honestly feels just as responsive as a brand new iPhone. And of course, you do get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There are a whole bunch of apps you can use, including YouTube. So you can actually watch YouTube videos on your car screen when you are in park. I don't know, maybe you can watch some of your favorite car reviews from your favorite car reviewer. Who knows, just a suggestion. You can also adjust the placement of your augmented reality heads-up display, which is one of the best heads-up displays I've ever used. Here, I can also adjust the lighting signature for my headlights and my tail lights. So those are fully customizable, as I mentioned earlier. Another thing I really like is with a single press of the button here, I can access all of my safety systems, including my distraction warning and fatigue warning, as well as automatic speed limit assist. So I can turn all of those systems off if I feel like it. And not only is it a single step process, this, it will actually stay off even when I turn the car off and turn it on again. So that's a really cool system there, and I think more automakers should be going for something like that. Another thing I really like is you do get the climate controls always on the display at the bottom, but I can quick adjust things like the temperature, fan speed, and my heated seats, which this does get as standard across the range. I also do get a heated steering wheel, which works really well, by the way, in a cold Hobart day, and I can turn that on from this touch capacitive button on the steering wheel there. Now let's talk about these seats because it's a really good story. They are extremely comfortable. They also look really cool in this red color. There are 3 different interior color options. You can go for a more beigey color, or you can go just for classic Audi black, or if you're going for the SQ6, you might as well go all the way and get the red seats. You also get your S insignia embossed there. You can adjust them in just about a million different ways, and you also get massage function on this top of the range SQ6. You can also option that on the Quattro as well. So that's really cool to see. Coming to the rest of the interior, you get these interesting carbon inserts here. You also get this beautiful Alcantara across the side here with this nice white stitching. You get nice leather all the way along the top here, and you get the Alcantara that continues all the way along the side here. But the materials are really impressive in this car, very premium feeling. Let's return real quick to the screen. So you do get this 11.9-inch OLED new digital cockpit display. It shows plenty of information. You can use the buttons on the left side of the steering wheel to navigate through the different menus. So that can show you things like your average consumption as well as your range. But really, everything you need to know will be on the heads-up display, and it can also show you things like directions, because this thing does have built-in Google Maps on the inbuilt satellite navigation, and it is one of the most responsive navigation systems I've ever used in a car. It's genuinely flawless in my opinion. It looks incredible. Another cool piece of tech in this car is you do get this ambient lighting strip that runs across the entire front of the dash. It looks incredible. You can change the lighting with voice commands. I'm not going to do that now because it'll start yapping at me.
A few moments later.
Hello, how can I be of assistance?
Set the interior color to blue.
Okay, I'll set the interior lighting to blue.
Not only is this used for kind of decoration on the interior, it's also used for status. So if I indicate left, for example, it will show a light beam running across to the left. So that shows that I'm indicating, just in case you forget that you're indicating because maybe you're playing your music too loud. I've done that before. If I put my hazards on, you can see both sides are illuminated. It's very cool. It's definitely not necessary, but it does add a cool quirk to the interior. I really like it. And how can I forget? There is a third display on the interior of this one. So you do get this little display on the passenger side, and it does, don't worry, it does black out for the driver when I am driving, so I can't see it, I can't get distracted. But you can even look at things like navigation as a passenger, or even if you feel like it, watch YouTube videos or play a racing game. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about practicality and storage now. So you get a decent size storage bin at the front here. You do get a fast Qi wireless charger with cooling there built in. You get your Audi takeaway coffee cup as standard. You also could open up this little tonneau cover here to reveal 2 cup holders there. If I come into this nice Alcantara center armrest, you do get your classic Volkswagen Group ratcheting mechanism there, and you'd be fooled for thinking it's a small area because you can actually stick your arm literally all the way through, since there is a lack of a transmission tunnel that runs through the car. So it's a decent amount of storage space in there. You also get pretty decent sized door bins, definitely not the largest, and you also get a nice soft felt lined glove box which has plenty of space in there as well. You do also get a massive panoramic glass roof that can also be opened, and that extends all the way to the rear seats there as well. So it adds a lot of airiness and light to the interior. Connectivity is a decent story. You do get a couple of USB-C ports in the front here, and you also get a 12-volt socket / cigarette lighter. So that's very old school there. And last but not least, you do get this awesome 16-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system. It sounds absolutely incredible, and you do get a massive subwoofer as well, so bass is not an issue. Bang & Olufsen is one of those brands where you don't really need to adjust the equalizer much because they get a really good balance from the get-go. So the speakers in this car, very, very good. Let's check out the rear seats. Alrighty, back seats now. Oh, it is a really good thonk. This car is so solidly built, I have to say, guys. So let's talk about space in the back. So I've set the seat in front of me to my normal seating position. As you can see, plenty of leg room there. My toe room is actually also pretty decent given the fact that there is a battery underneath the floor that I'm sitting on, and headroom is also really good as well. So no complaints there in terms of space. You do get these nice net matte pockets there. The seats are also the same beautiful quilted Napa leather. They feel so nice, so soft to touch, very supportive, and my seating angle is actually quite good as well. What else do you get back here? Well, if I fold down this center armrest, you do get nice soft Napa leather armrest there, and you get a couple of cup holders there as well. I also get a couple of air vents here with the signature Audi Click, which feels really nice. But you know what else feels really nice? Getting a great deal on your next new car. So if you guys are in the market for any new car, including this one or really any new car, make sure you go to CarSauce Buy. We have a massive dealership network that we make literally fight each other to the death to get you the best price on your next car. If you guys don't want to go through the hassle of having to go to a dealership and haggle on your own behalf, leave our team of experts to do it for you. So of course it is obligation free, and the best part is it actually costs nothing for you because we pass on the fees to the dealership. And it is also a fixed fee, so they always go in the hardest they can to get you the best price on your next car. So if that sounds good, and it absolutely should, make sure you Google CarSauce Buy to get the best deal on your next car. All right, it's time to launch this thing. Alrighty guys, so now we're gonna launch the Audi SQ6 e-tron, the full fat dual motor edition. Let's see how quick this thing is. I'm gonna brake boost launch it, and I believe it does have launch control. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna set it to dynamic mode. My foot is firmly planted on the brake, firmly on the accelerator. Unfortunately, only 29% battery, but what can you do? Oh, jeez Christ, that was fast. Whew. Oh, bloody hell. 0 to 100 in 4.24 seconds. That actually beats the claimed 4.3 seconds. Whoa, and that was actually a slight uphill. There you go. That is pretty bloody quick. All right, guys, let's drive this thing normally. All right, let's drive the thing now. So, first of all, I've got the car in balanced mode. So let me just click this drive select button and select dynamic mode so we can give it the sauce on these twisties. We are driving the SQ6, which is currently the top of the range for the Q6 e-tron. So, what powers this thing? Well, you do get a dual motor powertrain. It is a rear wheel drive biased as well. Total power output for the SQ6 is 380 kilowatts of power with 275 Newton meters of torque at the front wheels, but 580 Newton meters at the rear wheels. So very substantial amount of torque, very powerful EV, and I have to say, it also drives pretty well. So let's talk about it. So while the base Q6 e-tron does get frequency selective dampers, which are able to selectively dampen higher frequency bumps, so essentially you get a really comfortable primary ride. This car, however, gets adaptive air suspension, which means your drive modes actually change the way this car feels on the road. So if I do switch over to comfort mode, you immediately feel that ride quality get so much better. It is a lot smoother. Obviously, there's a lot more body roll now because we are sitting higher up. Our center of mass is a lot higher. So yeah, for cornering like this, I would definitely recommend that dynamic mode, which will lower the air suspension. And you can even lower it a step further by using efficiency mode. So that increases the range because it sits lower than the other drive modes. And that's actually why the SQ6 gets the highest range on the WLTP of around about 568 kilometers. But let's go back to the way this thing drives because yeah, I mean, it is pretty damn impressive. Now, you do get progressive steering across the range. That is standard for all the models, and that does change the way the steering feels. When you switch it to dynamic mode, it definitely gets a little bit weightier. However, I will say it's still on the lighter end. For this kind of driving, for a car this powerful, I would hope for a little bit more of a direct steering feel, especially if you compare it to competition such as a BMW iX3, which I think will have this beat in terms of engaging driving experience. But that's not to say that this doesn't really impress me. I think it drives amazingly well, and it is pretty damn fast, as you saw before. Now, another thing I really like about this car is that augmented reality heads-up display, which I know you might be thinking it's just a small little detail, but they have added this little effect when you accelerate that it actually zooms in the speed. It's almost like a warp drive effect. It's quite cool. And of course, it shows you heaps of information. It's able to project map directions onto the road in front of you up to 200 meters away. So that's really cool technology there, and it's a really good execution. Adaptive cruise control and all the active safety is, of course, really good. I do have a couple of question marks, however, about the driver distraction monitoring. That doesn't seem to work at all, at least in my experience. They don't monitor eyes. They did tell me that. However, I was testing it earlier by taking my hands off the wheel, and it never once warned me. So might be a little software bug with that. We have been facing a couple of software bugs today with these cars, I'll be completely honest. However, I have spoken to Audi about that, and they have assured me that a software update that fixes that exact bug has been pushed to most cars. However, the car I was driving didn't didn't seem to get that update. So yeah, I think they've fixed that issue, but still a weird one. Now, one massive issue I have with this car, and it's just, I do not understand why for the life of me this is the case. Audi have decided not to include any kind of lane centering assist with this thing. So you do get lane departure assist, and what that will do is essentially just bounce you from side to side in the lane. However, if you're spending $150,000 on a luxury electric midsize SUV, I would definitely expect lane centering. And I did actually ask them why it was omitted, and they said because they couldn't calibrate it properly for Australian conditions. So while we may be receiving that in a future software update, I definitely wouldn't rely on that. Let's talk a bit more about how this thing drives, because yes, obviously I am driving it on some nice twisty roads now, and it does steer really well. It corners really well too. That adaptive air suspension keeps things nice and tidy. It feels very planted on the road. Now we're stuck behind a slow Hyundai Venue, so let me set it to comfort mode, which will raise up that air suspension. You can see it's in the process of lifting there on the screen. It actually shows me. Now, would I personally go for the SQ6? Probably not. It is getting pretty pricey. You're almost getting into the territory of the Macan at this point. So I'd probably be looking at that if you are considering the SQ6. However, I probably would go for the Quattro, because you still do get that all-wheel drive, you get that dual motor setup. They are slightly less powerful, less torquey. However, most of my driving today was actually in the Quattro with the frequency selective dampers, and I found that that drove really well, and frankly, almost as well as this car. So I really don't think you'd be missing out on too much if you went for that. One last thing I want to mention as well is the efficiencies. So like I mentioned earlier, the SQ6 actually gets the highest range of the group because it does have that adaptive air suspension. But I would say if you can get the Q6 e-tron Quattro with the air suspension, you will be getting better range because those motors are slightly detuned. So currently in this car, I have been averaging around about 23 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and that is through a mix of highway and country driving. You will probably see better efficiency around town. However, that's just been my experience today. So based on that, you are probably going to see a real world range of closer to 450 kilometers rather than that 568 kilometer claim. All right, that's enough about driving. Let's get into my final thoughts. So final thoughts now on this, the Audi SQ6 e-tron. What do I think? Do I think you should buy this car? Well, it's kind of a difficult question to answer because there is some stiff competition, especially in the electric mid-sized SUV segment, and particularly at this premium price point. You are paying a lot of money for this car, $151,000 before options for this SQ6 e-tron. And yeah, of course, you are getting a lot of car for that money. This car does have some really impressive technology and some awesome overhauls on the interior, but I'm super confused about that lack of lane centering. For me, that's a really big deal, especially for living with this car on a daily basis. And just some of the interior quirks have me kind of scratching my head a little bit, if I'm being honest. But of course, this car does drive amazingly well. It is incredibly fast, and it has decent range and really good packaging. It's a really good size, and it's very practical. So of course, it ticks all of those boxes. But if you do compare it against some of the competition, including the Porsche Macan or even the BMW iX3, those cars will drive better in a dynamic way. But if you are just using this as a Touareg tank or commuting every day, then you really are gonna want that lane centering, which to be honest, the Porsche Macan doesn't get anyway. So that's just my 2 cents on the Audi Q6 e-tron. It really impressed me with the way it drives, as it should have. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Have I gotten this car wrong? Let me know as always. And of course, if you guys are interested in buying this car or any new car for that matter, make sure you go to CarSauce Buy. We have a massive dealership network, and we'll be able to get you one of these for the best price possible at a dealership that's convenient for you. All right, guys, ciao for now.